Feeling lost in the maze of CPS? Desperate to get your child back? You're not alone. Countless parents face the heart-wrenching reality of family separation. The legal system can be overwhelming, but there's hope.
Now, here's the key, okay? That's how you win a 6-month hearing.
Thank you.
If you do all of those things, you're going to blow your social worker's mind, you're going to blow your attorney's mind, and you're going to blow away the judge.
With attorney Vincent W. Davis, a dedicated legal expert with 39 years of experience, committed to helping families like yours. Join his weekly live Q&A on Zoom, where you can ask your burning questions about CPS cases. Get the knowledge and strategies you need to fight for your child's return.
Alrighty, good evening everyone. This is a question and answer session for school, SKOOL, and this is the CPS school.
Are you ready to take control of your family's future? Join our school community for free to access weekly live Q&A sessions, or participate as a one-time guest. Don't let fear hold you back. Take the first step towards reuniting your family. Join us now.
Good morning and welcome. It is now January 9th of the year 2025. It's nice to see you all found my podcast. I am live. You are here to fight CPS with Bob Pace and hang on to your children. I want you to know that it's a warm welcome. I know what you're going through. I've been there. I've experienced it. I've been fighting CPS for 15 years. And it's been a hard-fought fight. 3 of those years, my children in custody. And I had to get an attorney to get them safe. But unfortunately, I lost one of them, due to the fact that my attorney, Vincent W. Davis, caught the social worker committing perjury on the stand under oath. She lied about the adoption parents who were my wife's sister and husband who were trying to adopt my daughter, our daughter, which we did not want to. And he was asking about the parents, what kind of parents they were. And the social worker says they're great parents. Then he asked, have they ever had any domestic violence? Oh, no domestic violence. Well, then Mr. Davis proceeded to take out a folder with reports in it. He read them one by one. They're all about domestic violence. Not only about domestic violence, they're physical violence. And what happened is that her face was destroyed. I mean, she was so embarrassed. He read them one by one. But that did not stop her being as evil as she was. She told those parents she'd never see her daughter again. And you know what she did? She convinced her daughter at 12 years of age to emancipate from mom and dad. That means divorce mom and dad, divorce her 3 brothers, divorce her 2 sisters, divorce her both sets of grandparents, and divorce her aunts and uncles and cousins. Further, the social worker said to change her name, and so she deleted her name that we'd given her at birth. And her middle name was beautiful. It was Honolulu. It's the most beautiful place on earth, and that's why we named our daughter. It's like the Garden of Eden. She's so beautiful, so precious to us. And then she was told to seal her birth certificate like she wasn't even born by us. And then she was told to get adopted and get another birth certificate and put the adoptive parents as her mothers and fathers. And got a second social security card where she was double dipping with the first social security card getting money and then with her new social security getting money. You see, when parents are having children later in life, and I'm well over my 60s, I'm 75 now, but at the time, I was eligible for more of my Social Security that I had made that was taken from me. So I got additional Social Security for each of my children. My 3 younger children are under the age of 18. Well, they continued to pay her, but when she got a new Social Security card, she got more money. That's double dipping. And if Social Security found it out, they would be prosecuted. All this I did not find out too much later after the case was closed and over. It's sad because of my wife, parents, mother and father, and 3 sisters and a brother were calling in for 5 years how horrible we were as parents. It was nothing true to it. I disputed it for 5 years. But the CPS system in Orange County, California got tired of hearing that. So they contacted the police department and had the detective follow me, find out where I was going and what I was doing. And on top of that, it got so bad, it got so worse that they were trying to search my house for something wrong that they could find. At that time, they didn't have anything, but they thought by ordering me to open up my house and have the parade of 5 firemen, 2 code enforcement, 3 social workers, and 2 uniformed policemen and the detectives search my home. They're on a mission. That's how corrupt CPS is. Now, I hate to be starting a story like that, but I want you to know I'm not an attorney. I'm a father who's been fighting for 15 years, who's lost a daughter to the selfishness of CPS workers. They're not transparent. They don't care. All they care about is making trillions of dollars off your child. So wake up out there. Do not talk to social workers. Do not let them in your home. Do not let them take your children. Do not meet with them at your home. Do not meet with them at your office. If you're going to meet them with an attorney. The first step you do is hire an attorney. That is your key to success. Do not take the court-appointed attorney or public defender. They'll ruin your case. First of all, they're not trained in juvenile family dependency law. They're criminal attorneys, just starting out, very little experience. And they're paid by CPS. They're paid and controlled by CPS. They're so laden with 30 or more cases, they don't have time to talk to you outside of the courtroom. They're just bouncing from one hearing to the next hearing. And it's sad. I experienced that. That was a waste of time. Also, it's a waste of time trying to fight them. I was trying to get the director to wake up, or the supervisors, or the managers, or whatever they have there, but they don't have a board of supervisors or a board of directors that can be watchdog over the corrupt CPS. Now, not all CPS are corrupt, but of the 900 people I've talked to, including myself, I find them very corrupt. I find them mean and rude and cruel. They're very mean and cruel. They'll lead you up and take you down. Now, you found my podcast by looking on Facebook, Fight CPS. There are a total of 8 rooms, including this room. They all channel into this room. So if you found me in one of the 7 Facebook pages, you're here. If you found me on the YouTube, you're here. I'm broadcasting YouTube using the StreamYard application. And I really want to help you. I really do. Now, you just heard my attorney, Vincent Davis, speak about getting help. He wants to help you also. Now, his number at the office is 888-888-6582. That is his law office. It's the Vincent W. Davis and Associates. There you'll find all kinds of lawyers and all kinds of disciplines, criminal law, divorce law, um, workplace law, uh, injury law, immigration law, real estate law. It goes on and on. He has every lawyer there. But the one that you want, the very important area you want, is something called juvenile family dependency law. It should have juvenile law and family law and dependency law. It's the court you're going to be in. It's dependency court. There's no jury trial, which there should be. You're not judged by your peers. You're judged by a court-appointed judge that, in my case, was the most worthless judge I've ever seen. He was only trained in how to do car accidents and car claims and those kinds of things. He knew nothing about family reunification. Now, the reason why I call CPS the Child Protection System, because there's many different names for the Child Protection System in every state, every county, and worldwide. Yes, I mentioned worldwide because this podcast is around the world. I have over 20 countries now that have participated in my podcasts. And I've had all 50 states, including Washington State, participate. I've had Bangladesh, India, 2 countries in the Middle East, 7 countries in Africa, and then I've had 8 countries in Europe that crossed the pond. I've had Canada and several provinces. I've had the United States and all 50 states, and including Washington, D.C., which is not a state. I've had Mexico, and then down in South America, I've had Grenada. Then across the Pacific, I've had New Zealand. And then in Australia, I've had both the Gold Coast and in the Melbourne area and the state of Victoria. So they're all welcome. I have some regulars from South Africa. Leica is one of them. She's called on the show. She's talked on her dime. And she had a horrible, horrible incident where she had a 38-man do sexual things with her daughter. And it sounds like the local magistrate and the local police did nothing. It's really complex in other countries. You're very thankful to live in the United States, but be forewarned that not all CPS are good. People are losing their childs every day. There's 500 children right now being investigated by CPS in the United States. 500,000. That's 5 football fields. If a football stadium holds 100,000 people, it's 5 of them. That's 5 Rose Bowls going on at the same time. That's how many children are being investigated. It's terrible out there. And I do want to help you. I do want to tell you the do's and don'ts and what I've learned. Now, there's many ways you can work with this podcast. One is you can be in this room and listen and take notes. You can also give me emojis and smiley faces, thumbs up, hearts. You can send me stars. You can ask to be following me by clicking down below. And then if you want to be notified, you can click the notification button so you know every time that I'm on. Now, a second way is by texting messages to me, either a comment or a question about CPS. Please show your first name and the city or the county your case was in, and also the state. Now, if you're from another country, you may have a state or a province. Please list that, but also I like to see your country. And you're more than welcome. Everybody that has a CPS problem is welcome in my room. I want here to help you. Now, a third way is to schedule, be a guest on my podcast. All you have to do is email my show producer. Right now, my special prayers go out to my show producer. She was very sick at New Year's. She was hospitalized, but she's a little bit better, but then she lost her battle trying to save her dad. So prayers go out to Grace, my show producer. And anyway, she may not be in the room, but she does check her emails. So if you want to be a guest on my show, all you do is write Grace. It's Grace at VincentWDavis.com. Put down the show time you want. Now I'm on 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday. I'm on twice a day, once in the morning at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then again at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. They're both 1-hour podcasts. That's 14 shows a week. So all you do is you pick one of them. I want to be on Bob's morning show on Wednesday. I want to be on Bob's evening show on Sunday. I want to be on Bob's Tuesday show in the morning. So all you do is you tell her that. She'll send you the link. You go ahead and put the link in. You're going to be on StreamYard. If you get knocked off, use the link again. It's good for the whole show. And then you can talk about your case. You'll be live. You can talk with me and help other people. Now, another way you could be on the show is to call in. My number's up. It's 626-698-0990. That's my office number. We use Vonage as a online application. The phone is online. It's done online. So call it 626-698-0990. You've been connected with me, and I will talk to you. And you can help others and yourself. Now, being on the phone and talking on the show, or being a guest talking on the show, will qualify you for 15 minutes. 15 minutes of a private Zoom meeting with Vincent Davis, a consultation to talk about your case, to get help and everything else. Now, I just missed a call here. When was the call done? Okay, yesterday I had a call at 872 that I missed. Also, I had a call from 804 that I did talk to. So my phone is live. I can only talk between the hours that my show time is on. I can't talk to after hours. The person at 872 called at 9:21. My show ends at 8 o'clock. So it's not that I'm trying to ignore you, but I can't call in. Now, anyway, Tessa, who is from Northern California, is doing a petition drive. And she has a petition that you can sign. Anyway, I'm going to leave my number up so y'all can call in. There are 2 numbers up. Now, there's a ticket that's running across the bottom of my page. That will get you 30 minutes with Vincent Davis for $60. You go to that website. If you want more than 15 minutes, you get 30 minutes for $60. All you do is you pay with your credit card, reserve it, and you can have your private consultation with Mr. Davis. Now, I have a person that I don't recognize that have come into the room, and it's called Lee James. I assume you're a guy. Good morning, Bob, he says. Much love and light prayers for all. Thank you. That's a blessing there. he has some groups that I guess he has formed, and that's great, Lee. That's great. His second message was, I'm from Pennsylvania, Wayne County, Pennsylvania, the worst ever. It's the poorest county in the northern East Pennsylvania. Well, yeah, and Pennsylvania probably is the poorest county, but the poorest county in the United States is the Rosebud Reservation, which is the Lakota Sioux Reservation in South Dakota. And next door is another reservation that's just as bad. But I know how hard it is being poor. I've been there. I've experienced that, Lee. Prayers to you, Grace. I'm so sorry to hear. Prayers to you and your family. Grace, I know you may not be in here, but hopefully when you review the show, you'll hear these special prayers from Lee, who wants you to get better from your sickness over New Year's and, of course, the loss of your father. She's burying her father, I think it's the same day as President Jimmy Carter is being utilized and buried today in Plains, Georgia. I don't know if many of you saw our president be immortalized, but it was a beautiful ceremony. It was also beautiful to see all the living presidents there. It is something that you have to see to believe it. There was Trump and Melania and Obama and the two Bushes, not the younger Bush and his wife. And then there was Clinton and his wife, Hillary. Bill Clinton was there. There was Biden there and his wife. There was Kamala Harris and her husband. They're all there in the church. There's Andrew Young, who is a former UN ambassador who brought in and instilled the likings of Martin Luther King. It was so immortalized. There were the sons of Jimmy Carter, the sons of Walter Mondale, the sons of President Ford. They gave eulogies that President Ford made a long time ago, that Walter Mondale, the vice president, gave a long time ago. He was the vice president for Jimmy Carter. The families, the grandsons of Jimmy Carter. Amy Carter was there. It was so unreal to see all these people. I remember when President Carter was president. See, when I was born, Truman was my first president. Then Eisenhower and Kennedy. And it was sad to see Kennedy's funeral do the same thing that Carter did with the reverse boot in the saddle and the horse as I walked behind the caisson. It's a very sad thing, but it's a very honored thing because that is an honorship. There's so much honored. And it was so nice to see the funeral procession go up to the Navy Memorial that Carter made and hear the choir from the Academy, the United States Naval Academy, the midshipmen there sing. It was unbelievable. He had a great career. He's the only president that went to the military academy, and it was actually the United States Military Academy. He's also at the edges of the nuclear submarine. And Captain Rickover at the time, he was captain, was the father of nuclear submarines. And Carter helped a lot with that. But then he chose to go out of it because he did not like that the nuclear energy could kill. He was a peaceful man, and there's a lot of things you can learn about him. And I was really impressed with all the eulogies by all the people. The military was so well disciplined, so perfect marching, so perfect with their uniforms. Even the Space Force was there, which was the new thing that our president-elect had started during his administration. But they had a special color guard of all the highest ranks and all the military services there. including a woman. It was great. It was so great to see everybody there. And the reason why I'm taking a moment is that I want to pay tribute to President Carter for the job he did. You know, he tried to do something as a president. The president is the hardest job ever to do. It is the hardest job to do. And I know that the new president's got his work cut out for him. I know he wants to do a lot of changes, and we need to do something about the economy. We need to turn food prices down, gasoline prices down. We need to get people in higher paid jobs. We need to reestablish the middle class. We need to have a middle class of people, not a poor and rich class. That's the only two classes we have. Whether you guys realize or not, we're a third world country, because that's the definition of a third world country. No middle class, rich or poor. And I think we're better than that. I think we're better than a lot of the countries that are third world. There are so many third world countries in Europe, South America, and so forth. They have no middle class. But we're here to talk about CPS, and I'm here to help you all. So, Lee, if there's something that you can text me that you want to talk about, I'd love to answer your questions. Also, if you want to call me, my phone number is live. My phone number is live. Now, my computer is hot and cold. Today it was quicker getting on. I was only about 5 minutes late. And I'm glad I'm on. I'm glad I'm on. So I am open for, questions. Now, Lee further has said, I'm waiting for Lee if he has further questions. Lee from Pennsylvania, a very poor county he lives in, and I'm so sorry. Being poor should be a bad stigma. But our economy has really done it. It's doing a lot to our middle class. The rich class doesn't really feel the hurt of paying higher gas or higher food because they make enough to absorb it. But when you're paying $10 for a carton of 12 eggs, that's like $1.25 per egg. That is really a lot. That is really a lot. Things have gone up 25, 50 cents more. It just amazes me as far as eating out in restaurants and stuff. So I know it's hard out there. Now, I've developed 5 rules that I can talk about. I have lots of other issues I can talk about, like the ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act of 1978, or a 388 motion, or a 160 hearing. I'm open to a lot of topics. I can tell you how to do complaints against judges, complaints against attorneys, how to replace your attorneys, how to look for attorneys. My rule number 1, it talks about looking for an attorney. You should get 3 quotes from 3 different attorneys to know how good they are. Hi, JD, and welcome. Hi, JD. It's good to see you. It's good to see you. It's good to see you. I think, JD, if I'm not mistaken, you're from Los Angeles County, California, JD. I always seem to forget, but I'll try. I'll try there. Okay, you're definitely in Hollywood where the fires are. I hope that's one of the fires. It's on the Hollywood Sign Hill. I don't know if it's hitting homes today. I've not got an update about today. But JD, I hope you're safe. You know, JD's been one of my regulars who comes on my show. And I'm so glad to see you and hear from you, JD. And right now I'm talking about my 5 rules. And the very first rule is the lawyers, I was saying, to get 3 quotes. There are 2 important questions you should ask before you hire somebody. 1, are you a lawyer licensed in juvenile family dependency law and has beat CPS getting the kids back? If the answer is yes, you should go to the next question. After a case is closed, have you done a civil lawsuit against CPS and won money? And if the answer is yes, you got a winner. You got a winner because you know that attorney's not afraid to fight CPS. You interview them, you find out how much your retainer is. Now, I have Vincent W. Davis that will fight any case in the USA. His office is out of Arcadia, but he has cases in LA County, Orange County, Riverside County, and San Bernardino County. He also has cases in Northern California and a case in Oklahoma. So he's a busy man, but he'll fight CPS anywhere. And he'll fight to get your kids back. And once the case is closed, he'll do civil lawsuits if your constitutional or civil rights are violated. If they're violated, he will do that. He is 39 years experience. He's a trial attorney, and he is a pit bull of attorney. He's a fighter. So there's one attorney you could call. You can either call at 888-888-6582 and retain him. Tell the people when you call that number Bob Pace sent you. And when you speak to Mr. Davis, tell him that Bob Pace sent you. Or you can call in and be a guest on my podcast and talk, or call in on my phone and talk, and you'll get a free 15-minute Zoom private consultation with Mr. Davis. That is an appreciation of you calling in or being a guest on my podcast. Now, if you want longer time, like you want 30 minutes, he'll talk to you for $60, a special rate I got from him. All you have to do is go to that website that is on the bottom of my screen. You go to that website, pay your $60 with your credit card, and then sign up for a 15-minute session with them. JD, what I'd like you to do, I'm glad you're safe now. There's so many people affected by those fires. I mean, people have to understand these fires in California were fanned by strong winds of 100 miles an hour. And there's so many homes that got caught fire because the embers would get not only under on the roof, they get under the eaves, into those vent spaces, and get into those dry attics and sit there and start the wood on fire. It is very terrible the way homes are constructed. And these sparks will go miles. In fact, they're afraid that we go 26 miles to Catalina, because Catalina is across the way, and the winds are blowing to the west. They're hot desert winds, and they were going up to 100 miles an hour. And so there was pockets of fires. There were 6 fires, 5 people dead, and over 1,000 structures ruined. Those were homes and buildings. There was schools. There was banks. Bank of America went down. McDonald's went down. An old-style restaurant called the Real Inn for 38 years was gone. So much destruction has been happening in California. And a lot of people are coming there. In one area in Altadena, the water runs downhill, it's gravity fed, and the pressure dropped. And the fire hydrants were no longer given water. Some of the areas, the water ran out because there were so many homes. You see, putting out 1 or 2, but when you have 100 homes on fire, it's hard. They're all over the place. These firemen are doing their best, and they're clearing brush and stuff. And some of these things, the fires could have been prevented if people cut away the dry brush. It's not rain, and so everything is very, very dry. It's a perfect storm for fires. All you have to do is start it. We don't know how the fire started. It could have been a human, the way the fire started. But once the fire starts, it goes to the palm trees, and the palm trees sparks glow in the wind. And when they land on the roof, they can start a roof, or they go sucked underneath the eaves, and they start there, or they start on some dry bushes around the house, and then the garage goes, and so forth. It's really sad, and they are trying their best to do that. They're getting federal aid, they're getting help from FEMA, and there is a lot. But it's a lot to do for a fireman. Some of the firemen have been up for already 30-some hours. They need rest. And they got firemen coming from other states. They finally started the plane drops yesterday. But retardant, they've not done it on single-family homes. They don't know. I mean, when you come swooping in, you got a little tiny home there that's on fire. How do you put it out? You can have a helicopter dump water on that, but it takes time. If you got 1,000 homes on fire all at the same time, which homes do you do? So it's a really complex mess. And hopefully the winds will die down. It'll get better. Well, JD, if you want to talk to Vincent Davis about pro bono, a contingency like a civil suit and stuff, what I would advise you to do is take up my offer to be a guest on my show, or call in on my phone and talk so that you get a free 15-minute time with Mr. Davis and talk to him. He won't bite you. He's very easy to talk to, and he's not a clock watcher. But if you have something that would interest him, he'd be more willing to hear about it. But he's like these guys, you have to do something for him. So call in on my show or be a guest on my show, DD, and I'll arrange it for you to have a private 15-minute consultation with Mr. Davis. Now, he does have a 30-minute consultation for $60. It's a website going across my screen. But anyway, I would like to help you, and Vincent would like to help you. I didn't mean to say pro bono. I meant a contingency. I understand. A contingency pay. I was hoping that in my case, I could do a contingency, but he wanted $50,000 for a retainer. I don't know if my case wasn't strong enough when the social worker convinced my daughter to emancipate from us family, to divorce us, to change her name, to seal a birth certificate, to be adopted and in foster care. She's 22 now, and I don't know what I can do. I think the statute of limitations is gone. I used all my money for my quick sell of my home. I don't have my home anymore. It's a beautiful home, a mile close to the beach. It was a brand new home, meaning that it was only maybe 15 years old when I moved in. It was built in 94 and I moved in 2004. So 94 to 2004 is 10 years old. It was modern, 2-story. There's a bedroom for each child with an own bathroom. The master bedroom was double doors. There's a balcony overlooking the swimming pool and the grotto. And you look to the left, there's the English yard. I had yards on all three sides of my neighbors were far enough away. It was a sort of a cul-de-sac area of my home. But it was beautiful. I still miss it today. But I had to do a quick sale because I need the money to get my kids back. Family was really important to me. So I did anything I could. I wish I had another $50,000, but I don't. My credit has been ruined by CPS. I've lost my home because of CPS. I can't get a job because of CPS, because they've put bad reports about me being involved in CPS. I know that's the reason why people aren't jumping at me. It's really sad. I don't know what else to tell you, but it's really, 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 really hard. I know that. I know that. I know you're not into retainers, JD. I understand that. And your story is why I done with retaining attorneys. Yeah, it's hard. There are so many attorneys out there. There's another attorney that my wife got that was a dependency lawyer. His name is Art. He has a brother. They both practices juvenile dependency, family dependency law. And I still owe him money that I couldn't pay. And I feel bad about that. I feel really bad about that because I've always one of these people that pays my bills. But, I'm working at a job with Bangladesh wages. It's so bad. 14 hours a week I put in, and I only get $280. And I have to beg for 2 to 3 weeks at a time to get paid. It's the worst experience you could ever feel. It's the worst experience you could ever feel. To beg for money that you earn. You're on time, you do your job, you do it well, and you have to beg for money. I don't want to badmouth people, so I don't want to say any names. But I'm a caring, loving husband. I've raised 6 children. One is in the 40s, 2 are in their 30s, and the other 3 are in their 20s, and 1 in the teens. I am very fortunate to have a beautiful young son of 19 who I love dearly. I'm very fortunate to have a son of 25. They're still living with me. and I have my wife, and we have, these beautiful children. I've been with my wife for 31 years. 31 years of marriage. It's been hard. There's been a lot of up and downs. There's been a lot of strain by CPS and misunderstanding by family members, to the point today where my other children want nothing to do with their mother or their father. Only the two boys still hang in there. And they're hanging in by threads because I can't make enough money to pay my bills. If I don't get the check in with that week, I suddenly have to pay a late fees on bills, or I have to borrow money from my sons. That's a bad experience to have that feeling. In the year 2010, I had a great job. It was $250,000. I had a $2 million home. But I lost my job through no fault of my own. Because the state of California was going bankrupt, and I had $53 million of contract work with the Department of Transportation. It's construction work. And the governor at that time said he needed money. So he took my $53 million and put an IOU on it. That's illegal. Those are public funds that are awarded to a contractor in normal bidding times. And that is sad, because then I was faced with the age of 60 after working 45 years and getting this beautiful fourth home of mine, lose it all, and then have to deal with CPS during my time. I'm still fighting CPS for 15 years. I don't believe that all of CPS is bad. There's a lady named Betty from Montana who is a foster care mother, who's very sweet. She's a very good social worker. There was Carol, a clinical psychiatrist with 6 months of training in Maryland to be a CPS worker. And she was on the show, and she talked about how great she was able to have families reunify. You see what CPS is supposed to do? They're supposed to stop our children from neglect or abuse, to watch over them, to protect them, not to take innocent parents and break families apart. Now, they're also supposed to provide you with food and shelter and transportation and clothing and education and medical, and even find you a job. And if they need to break up the family, they're supposed to do family reunification, because the biological parents have found they're the best parents ever for that. So, JD, I know your feeling on that, and I know how you feel about that. How much did you end up spending on attorney in total? I did a quick sell of my home. I'm guessing $175,000 for 3 years. You understand that attorneys, and I never liked attorneys, but attorneys have a profession that they've learned, and if they do it well, they're worth every penny of it. But it's sad that a lot of attorneys, charge per minute. If you call them on the phone, you talk 5 minutes, it's their rate. If the rate is $600 an hour, they'll break it down and charge you 5 minutes. Money goes up fast. It goes up really fast. I had money put away when I lost my job. I was able to pay the mortgage on my home, which was a lot. I had $5,000 in mortgages and taxes, property taxes. That's how much it cost me to live in my home at the beach. And I was able to sustain that for the 2 years to finally, I couldn't stop paying my mortgage. I had to do a quick sale. I had to let my house go. Also, I had what's called a predatory loan by Countrywide, this loan company that was giving away loans like they were easy, what they would do is they take your income and double it. They took my $250,000 a year and made it $500,000 a year so I could qualify for an $883,000 home. And that home escalated up to $2 million. So it's a good turnover with money. But when you take out a credit line, you have to pay that back. It isn't forever. It isn't like a 30-year mortgage. A credit line is 10 years. And yes, it was cheap at that rate. The prime at that time was 2%. But it's really, 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 really hard. So I thought my family was important enough to invest all my money. I've always been for my family. I know that some of my family members don't think I'm a good dad or don't think in there, but I've stuck it out. I've stuck it out. It was hard when CPS comes down and takes your children. I'll never forget that day. They weren't in danger, and they were insisting to take the children in foster care. And dumbfounded Bob Pace didn't know about CPS or civil or constitutional rights. They had no rights to talk to me. They have no rights to come into my home. They had no rights to take my children. They violated my constitutional rights and civil rights. It was terrible. And yes, I'm still angry. 2010 is when I lost my job and everything started to go downhill. And I had to deal with 5 years with my wife's parents and her 3 sisters and brothers every week calling from Ohio to California. You're not feeding your kids. You're not taking them to school. You're not doing this. You don't have gas turned on. You don't have water turned on. All the stupid stuff that was, and I had them in my home back then in 2011 and 12 and 13. They saw my home. They saw how nice my home was. They saw the food. They saw how I prepare the meals. They saw the clean children's bedrooms. They saw the bathrooms they had. They saw how roomy the home was. But in 2014, my dad died, or 13, I think it was. And he wanted me to take his belongings and give them to family and friends. They had 55 years of marriage, and they had all these belongings to give away. So I took them into my home, and I put them in my living room. At first, I had them out on my driveway apron, but I lived in a private community that didn't allow that. I had tarps over it. I had it well protected from the elements, and I was sorting through it and sending it off. It was easy for me. There was no room in the garage. I had to take it into my home. And when I did that, that's when CPS, when they came to look at my home, said, "Oh my God, you got all this furniture and all these boxes stacked in the living room. They're going to endanger the kids. You're being neglected of your children." That's not neglect. My children were taller than the boxes that were stacked. That living room was one room in the house that had many rooms. We had a formal dining room that could seat 8 people with a table that was 200 years old with claw feet, and I had a cabinet for dishes and stuff that's all antiquish, chandelier and everything in the dining room. The kitchen was a state-of-the-art modern kitchen, center island, well prepared. It had a trash compactor. It had a dishwasher. It had a double stove oven. It had a grill. You could do so much. It had cupboards and cupboards for food. Then it had a breakfast nook where you could sit there and look at the pool, look at the yard, look at the waterfall and hear the sounds of the waterfall. You had a family room adjacent to that with a big screen, 72-inch movie screen. You had a place where the family could watch movies or play video games. It was well secured back door with chains and locks so that no one could get into the pool without going through all that. It had a fenced-in gate area around the pool. I had 2 Siberian Huskies that had a dog run in an igloo on the one side of the house. Had an English garden. And, of course, a tropical garden around the pool with a jacuzzi and a grotto. And vegetable plants that could grow tomatoes and peppers and things. It was a beautiful, beautiful home. Walkways. It had a staircase that went up with wooden railings and wind it up to the top floor. High vaulted ceilings. You could put a 50-foot Christmas tree in there in the living room. It had a room downstairs with a bathroom, and that room was used as a study, a library, computer room, workshop room, and a spare bedroom. It had a pull-out double bed, as a guest could sit there, and they have their own bathroom. Then upstairs, each child that was still living at home had a room. They had a room there. Each child had a room. And then they had a bathroom. They could sit there and clean themselves with a walk-in bathtub and a shower and so forth. The rooms were big. There were vaulted ceilings in the rooms. You could have a bunk bed with plenty of top room and an area underneath for a desk. As I told you, the bedroom was double doors. It had 2 walk-in closets. It had a toilet closet. It had a jacuzzi. I had 2 jacuzzis. I mean, I lived in a beautiful home, and CPS destroyed that. CPS destroyed that. I had to quick sell because I was running out of money. Paying $5,000 a month with another $5,000 of living expenses. That's $10,000. That's $120,000 a month, a year that I was spending on expenses. And yes, that may sound a lot, but I could afford it back then. But that predatory loan hurt me because I had to get a credit line, and the credit line will kill you. I did not know I had a predatory loan. I sued Countrywide, who's bought by Bank America, and won the lawsuit. But did it get me my home back? No. So I quick sold my home. My loan was gone. Bank America had the loan. They were paid off. They're not owed a dime. My first was paid off, and what left of my second was paid off. So I walked away owing nothing, but I did a quick sale. So I lost $1 million in that quick sale. So I didn't hold out. I wanted to get that home sold fast because I need the money to hire Vincent Davis. I went off a little bit. I know that, JD. It is hard. It is so hard to do what I had to do. All my life I've been a surfer. I started surfing at the age of 7. And for some of you that don't know it, I was in a military family. My dad was in the United States Navy. An admiral is when he died. And he retired. He had to retire, but he served a lot. He served in World War II. He served in the Korean War, and he served many tours in Vietnam. So my dad has done a lot. He's worked with several presidents, Nixon and Ford. He worked as executive director underneath McNamara at the Secretary of Defense. He was second command of the Secretary of the Defense. He's an XO. He worked for McNamara. And I remember us living in Washington, D.C. I remember doing a dance with Susan Ford, President Ford's daughter, when she had a ballroom dance at the White House. I remember meeting a lot of famous people, the guy that walked on the moon, things like that. I am so blessed with things that have happened to me in my life. But I also experienced a lot. I experienced in August of 1969 a 4-day marathon with Woodstock. Through all the rain and mud and people and everything, I survived it. It was great. It was a great experience. I didn't know what to expect. I drove an old Corvair up north to New York that the floor was always falling out. It was my first car. And 69 was a turning point. Yes, there was hippies, but I was not considered a hippie. I knew I was growing, finding my roots, and one of my roots led me to the Lakota Sioux. It's a tribe of Indians, and my great-great-grandmother is from Rosebud Reservation. And I've been trying to find her Indian name. Her first name is Peggy, of course, Pace, because my great-great-grandfather was Earl Pace, a Viking from from Norway. Bergen, Norway is where he's from. And so I'm trying to find Earl Pace. And I'm trying to find my grandmother, who I don't know her Indian name. And Indians don't keep records. It was this tragic past that was. And I spent some time in 72 at the Lakota Sioux Reservation, Rosebud, to know their ways, to know my heritage. I'm only 25, I'm about 33% Indian blood. Why I have blonde hair is because of my Viking great-great-grandfather. He was blonde, very strong, very dominant. Now, I know a lot of it may not have anything to do with CPS, and I know maybe if you may want to know why. But being in the fight against CPS takes all your resources. It takes knowledge. And I did not know. If I knew these 5 rules that I have when I was having the start of my CPS case, I never would have lost my daughter. I never would have had to go with CPS. I would have got an attorney straight out of the chute and then followed his advice. Now, I'm very fortunate to meet Vincent Davis because my wife found him on the internet. And I met with him. I never forget the time I met with him. Very casual, wearing shorts, and very likable guy. We hit along pretty good. And I asked him, would he take my case? And he said he would. But I need to pay a retainer. And that was a struggle for me because I was trying to pay my house and keep my house and also trying to find work. I did not know that CPS would put bad things on my record that prohibit me from being hired. I always wondered why people were not hiring me. I know my age was a factor, but that shouldn't have been all of it. But it's because of my involvement with CPS. Somehow people out there think CPS is bad. They think CPS is bad. And I want you to know it is. My first-hand experience in the Orange County Child Protection System or services is bad. From the top dog to all the way to the bottom. I didn't meet one person I trusted or liked. They all were evil and very callous. They're not transparent, and they wanted to take advantage of people that don't know about CPS, do not know about how a lawyer works, do not have the funds. And I did not have the funds to come up with the money to fight. The only access I had was my house. And it's sad because now, 15 years later, I don't have a home. I live in an apartment that can barely pay. I live on my Social Security and a little Bangladesh job that I'm not appreciated. I do so much for the individual for this Bangladesh job. I do so much. I've helped him so much. But he fails to recognize how much I have. But I'm here because of you guys. I've grown to like doing this podcast. I've been doing it for over a year, 15 months to be exact. I've talked to 900 of you people here in the United States and worldwide. And some of you people worldwide have been so nice. I was fortunate because I was a surfer so young. I lived out of a sports bag for 25 years, going to surfing contests all over the world. I had 25 trips. Actually, I had 75 trips to Australia, 25 on the Gold Coast at Snapper Rock, 25 trips to the South Coast at Bells, Melbourne, in the state of Victoria, and 25 trips to the Margaret River, which is the wild side of Australia, 25 trips to Durban, South Africa, 25 trips to Portugal, to Lisboa, 25 trips to Brazil at Recife, Florianopolis, Barra da Chuca, Rio, all over Brazil, Argentina, Mar del Plata, Lima, Peru, Redondo Beach, Costa Rica, Venezuela, the island off Venezuela, Puerto Rico. I have been to so many places. Japan, Najima Island off Tokyo. Miyazaki, down in a place called Oshima, which is the place of the old shoguns, the old castles of Japan. Indonesia to Kuta Beach in Bali. All those trips. To the Philippines, to Baguio, to Subic, to Manila. Of course, Guam and Hawaii, many times Hawaii, the North Shore. You know, so many places from VLAN to Sunset to Pipeline. You know, Haleiwa, paddling out to big breaks like Avalanche. You know, it's just Hawaii in town down south, the South Shore to Alawana Bowl, off Diamond Head and Cocoa Head, way out there at sea. I love Hawaii. I went to Kauai and Honolulu Bay and the west side of Kauai at Kekaha, and the cow pasture and so many different surfing breaks. I've seen so many surfing greats grow up, the Irons brothers. Kelly Slater, I've known since he's 12 years of age. I've had a chance to celebrate my daughter's first year birthday with him and Taylor Knox and Rob Machado in Japan and Tajima Island. You know, there's so many wonderful memories I have of surfing. So surfing's still in my blood today. That's why I live down at the ocean. But CPS has disrupted my life and made me go really, really off the deep end. And again, I've had very few people in this room to this morning, so maybe they'll see on my podcast. But JD, I got to go. Thank you for listening to me and hearing me out. I appreciate that, JD. I've gone over my time. God bless you all, JD, and also the new man, Lee James from Pennsylvania. I hope it gets better for you. I hope you come again. I miss Betty and Margaret and Tessa. I miss all the people that come in the room. Jesse up in Oregon. You know, there's so many people. If we forget, you know, Crystal, KK from New York. There's lots of you. I hope your cases are doing better, and God bless you. Whatever you do, do not give up. Use the things. If you want to hear about my 5 rules, listen to my other podcasts. I have details of my 5 rules that will help you. So there'll be a brief message from my attorney, Mr. Davis. He's a wonderful man. I thank him for everything he's done. And I hope you talk to him because he will help you. And I'll be on again tonight at 7 o'clock to talk about CPS and to help you. I'm open to questions. So God bless you all. And this is Bob Pace.
Feeling lost in the maze of CPS? Desperate to get your child back? You're not alone. Countless parents face the heart-wrenching reality of family separation. The legal system can be overwhelming, but there's hope.
Now, here's the key. Faith, that's how you win a 6-month hearing.
Thank you.
If you do all of those things, you're going to blow your social worker's mind, you're going to blow your attorney's mind, and you're going to blow away the judge.
With attorney Vincent W. Davis, a dedicated legal expert with 39 years of experience, committed to helping families like yours. Join his weekly live Q&A on Zoom, where you can ask your burning questions about CPS cases. Get the knowledge and strategies you need to fight for your child's return.
Alrighty. Good evening, everyone. This is a question and answer session for school, SKOOL, and this is the CPS school.
Are you ready to take control of your family's future? Join our school community for free to access weekly live Q&A sessions, or participate as a one-time guest. Don't let fear hold you back. Take the first step towards reuniting your family. Join us now.